Welcome back to another video. Bradford goes to Hollywood. Let me know your thoughts going into the Wrexham game in the comments down below. Like the video if you do go on to do so, and subscribe if you're new. All the support is massively appreciated, heading towards 300 subscribers before the end of the season. It is tough to pick key players for Wrexham, of course. They've got quality all over their team, and you know the squad's League One standard. So you know there's a lot of key players who are missed out. But I think the obvious three have been selected. Stephen Fletcher, really impressed with him when he came up against Kevin McDonald's Bradford City in October. Really good close touches, keeps the ball close to his feet. You know, uses his strength really well. Good aerial ability as well. Scores a lot in the air. He scored an hat-trick earlier on in this year against Barrow in a 4-1 win for Wrexham. In that one, some good goals in there. So really great finisher, but really intelligent with his runs as well. So you can tell he's played at the higher levels of the English pyramid because of his play style and how hard it is to get off the ball. Paul Mullin, 10 goals in 20 this season. I think it's his overall play that Wrexham get out of him more. When you look at an Andy Cook, who's all about goals really, Paul Mullin links attacks, pulls defenders away, becomes the focal point so that others can feed off him. And he's a clinical finisher, but it's that tenacity, it's that dynamism in the final third. He's like a hamster, you know, he just runs round and round and round all day. Elliot Lee, of course, how can you not talk about Elliot Lee? 13 goals from midfield. You know, we've got to really get tight to him, the midfielders. You know, I'm looking at Gilead sticking with him, not really letting him go, because he's the only player in midfield who has got the energy to keep up with him, because he'll always make shadow runs into a box and he'll always be free in the box from a lot of his goals this season. So the Form, they've just come off the back of a 3-1 defeat to Salford. Before that was a big defeat in the derby, the Wales derby in League 2 between Newport, away from home, a 1-0 defeat. So they've lost the last three, obviously if you could include Blackburn. A 2-0 win against Wimbledon, a 4-1 win against Barrow, and before then a 3-1 defeat to Walsall. So 3 defeats in the last 5 league games, only 2 wins, but last 3 games they've lost them all. Although I think they've scored 43 home goals this season, home, not own, home goals this season, which is just outstanding. It really is. And they've had 5 league draws all season, which is obviously why they're up there. And they've only had one of those were against us, and they've only had 1 draw since playing us, and I think that was to Harrogate, if I'm right in my memory there. They are the best home team in the league. They've got 35 points from 14 games. They've got a couple of games in hand against teams around them with the home games, and we're 11th with the away form, 18 points from 16 games. Our last 5 games, a 0-0 draw to Wimbledon, a 2-0 defeat to Swindon, a 1-1 draw to Salford, a 1-1 draw to Colchester, and a 4-2 defeat to Crawley earlier on in the year. Let's have a look at the dugout then. Phil Parkinson, Parky, returns. The impact he had at City was obviously a huge one, and probably goes down as one of our best ever managers, if not the best manager. Definitely makes the top 3, surely. You know, League Cup final, when you're in the basement of the football pyramid. Outstanding achievements with the cup wins in there, getting promotion that season as well. Previous to that, keeping us up in League 2. We built off the promotion from League 2 in the 12-13 season in the playoff final win against Northampton to then get I think it was a top half finish in 13-14. Following on from that in 14-15, just missed out on the playoffs again, but that season we beat Chelsea and Sunderland and got to quarterfinals, I think it was, in the FA Cup. Following on, playoff finish, defeat in the semi-finals to Millwall. He moved on, went to Bolton, tough circumstances there with the ownership problem that were going on. Then he went to Sunderland, love-hate, mainly hate, to be honest with you, with the Sunderland fans. Obviously his direct style of play, his quite cautious, pragmatic style with his low block defending can be quite divisive to watch, but you know, we can't complain as City fans. It got us some big results and some fantastic memories as well. But when he's come up against City, which is 8 times, he's had 1 win, 1 defeat, but 6 draws, and obviously 2 of those have come this season, both 1-1 draws, which one had to go to penalties, and we just edged it there. Against Graham Alexander, again, he's managed 8 games against him, 3 wins for Parkinson, 3 draws and 2 wins for Graham Alexander. So what can we expect then going into this game? I think they'll bombard us with crosses. I think that's something that you can always expect from a Phil Parkinson side. They like to work it down the left more so than the right, with obviously James McLean bombing on down that side, and he's probably got the best crossing in League Two, especially with his wonderful left foot, whipping him in towards Fletcher, Palmer, Mullin, now Jack Marriott, who you can throw in there as well. He's always going to be a threat, and again, he just narrowly missed out on the key players. He's a brilliant player to watch, but not a brilliant player to listen to. We'll just say that. Momentum swings, you can definitely expect that during the course of the game. We had it when they came to our place, but it's something they like to do throughout games. Wrexham, for some reason, it comes with Phil Parkinson, of course. We obviously witnessed it at City, but they like to sit in, invite pressure, soak up pressure, and allow crosses into a box, which allow teams to then get a bit of momentum into a game, mainly in the first half. But when that second half comes, especially at home games, they get the atmosphere up, they get crosses into a box, they get tackles flying in, and they get shots off, and they get a lot of goals from that. So, and then you can't get out, they strangle you, they suffocate you, and they make it a real tough day for you, and that is exactly what I expect to happen. Corners, something we must take a look at, especially after watching the Salford game. Conroe, I think he's on loan from Arsenal. I can just call him Arthur. Elliot Watt, direct corner, scored one that Luke Garbett whipped in towards the back post that he should have claimed. It was something that really targeted from corners, of Conroe not coming and claiming him, and it's a bit dodgy. Obviously Newport, they scored a really good header that looped in, and the keeper again should have saved, but he does make some really good acrobatic saves, but also he's massively at fault for a few of those blunders, and especially from those corners. If you can whip them in, some outswingers towards the back post, get them on the keeper and get a few players around him, he could have a real problem. And sticking with corners, what I've noticed when I've watched the last two games of Wrexham, Stephen Fletcher, again, that man again, if he starts, he'll be a real problem. But against Wimbledon, scored a goal from peeling away towards the back post, completely unmarked, and blasted it into a back of the net. Against Barrow, scored a goal again, peeling away from his man, completely unmarked on the back post, and I think he tapped that one into a back of the net. But you've got to stay tight to him, don't let him peel off you, because that's obviously something that he intends to do and something to work on, because he's done it quite a few times this season. And then looking at Tozer, a lot of the goals that Wrexham have conceded this season has come from him getting tight to the target men and then getting runners in behind the target men, playing quick passes, transitioning well, and then they get a shot off from obviously that counter-attack. So Andy Cook, I'm looking at you, pull Tozer away, take a touch away from him, play it into the more technical, pacey players in the attack. I'm looking at, Jake Young, if he's fit. I don't think he will be, but I'll get onto that in a short while. Bobby Point and Harry Chapman, if they start, get the ball into them and run off him, because he will be engaged, he'll get tight to you, and he's quite easy to turn, because he hasn't got a lot of pace. And just on Tozer, expect a long throw, because they will absolutely throw the kitchen sink at those with his slingshot-like throw-ins. Quick bit on the referee then, Ben Speedy. He refereed the cup game at Wrexham, which resulted in a 1-1 draw. Walker won a penalty in that game. It never was a penalty. I think I said at the time it probably was, but looking back at it now, complete emotion out of it, it was never a penalty. It was a bit of a shoulder barge, and you see it all the time, and it never gets given. It got given that night. We scored it, and Gillingham, he refereed it for Gillingham as well last season in a 2-2 home draw, and Scott Banks won a penalty in that game. I think it probably was. It was a bit soft, but even looking back now, I'd probably say it was a penalty. But he did add on 8 minutes added time, which I think Gillingham scored in the 97th minute, and if memory serves me right, I can't remember how he managed to find 8 minutes added on in that game. He's refereed against City 6 games. We've won twice, drawn 1 and lost 3. He's given us a red card just the once, and he's never sent off an opponent for City. When you look at his games that he's refereed, he mainly referees in the League One level. So very quickly on the starting 11 then, Walker's got a starting goal. I'd stick with a back 5 with John Tompkinson as the right-sided centre-back, Platt and Kelly at the back. They had great games last weekend, and hopefully they can keep forming that partnership, because they have clearly been our best back line. McDonald and Gilliard in midfield. McDonald didn't really follow on from his Doncaster game, but I think that shows that we all know that he can't play Saturday, Tuesday. So you play him against Wrexham, you bench him Tuesday night against MK Dons, you start him next week, because he is the best midfielder we've got. but you've got to manage him, and he's had a week off, so I'd play him alongside Gilead. Obviously, we need his energy in midfield. Richards and Halliday as the wing-backs, you know, not more needs to be said there. Again, to provide energy and a good attacking threat. Poynton and Kavanagh as a sort of 10/wingers. I think Chapman, he didn't really do enough last weekend for me, and against Wrexham, you know, has he got the energy to match their intensity? And I think when you look at Kavanagh, you look at Poynton, they will give 110%, and I want that commitment. And Jake Young is dropped because he hasn't been in training all this week, and Tariq Wright is also out, so Andy Cook starts up front. He's got a bit to prove, obviously getting dropped last weekend. For me, he'll never have anything to prove when he's scored over 60 goals for the football club. But, you know, when he's been dropped, there's been question marks around him. You know, come on, show your accountability now. You know, stand up and be tested, stand and deliver, and I'm sure he will. So my prediction's a 1-1 draw. Again, it'd be the third 1-1 draw in the third 3 games we've played them this season. Like, you know, we just always draw against Wrexham when you look at it, and Phil Parkinson. And then when you look at the referee giving us penalties, Andy Cook coming back, so I'd probably go with a Cook penalty, and then maybe, you know, a Wrexham goal from maybe Elliot Lee. So let me know your thoughts going into Saturday's game in the comments down below. Hopefully the game goes ahead. We've had a lot of snow this Thursday, and hopefully, you know, it stays away to the rest of the night, and hopefully it hasn't been snowing in Wrexham. Obviously their pitch will be in better condition than ours as it is anyway. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, your score predictions, your team lineups, and anything else you'd like to let me know. Like the video if you did, and subscribe if you're new. All support is massively appreciated. Have a good one.